world peace. I traveled from Jerusalem to where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found in Qumran, a dry plateau about a mile inland from the shore of the Dead Sea. I met with Professor Robert Eisenman, who told me that Qumran supported various communities starting some 2100 years ago. But scholars are loath to identify Judeo-Christians with the Dead Sea Scrolls found in the caves here around Qumran.
And then what do the scholars do? They come along and tell us, oh, people like Eisenman don't know what they're talking about. Oh, there's nothing there, nothing interesting, nothing to do with Christianity. This is a much earlier group. You can go to sleep, folks, and forget about it. Then we came along and said, no, folks, wake up. This is not just an earlier group. This is a contemporary group. In fact, this is an aboriginal Christian group here.
Eisenman says that James, the brother of Jesus, ran things for the Judeo-Christians here at Qumran. His theory is one that many scholars can't swallow. Nonetheless, he says he can uncover an early Christianity that has been hiding in plain sight. How can he do it? It's complex, but it goes something like this. 1. Re-examine the ancient texts. 2. Compare in detail the texts with the Christian Bible. And 3. Identify an archaeological landmark. By building a detailed comparison of ancient texts with the Christian Bible, Eisenman says he can draw a treasure map and identify a landmark that physically places James at Qumran 2,000 years ago. And that may change the way we look at Christianity. His method starts with a new examination of the Dead Sea Scrolls.
We're looking across into the most important cave found, Cave 4. That is the library cave. There were literally tens of thousands of fragments found in that cave, just piled up in a huge, unruly manner.
The famous Dead Sea Scroll.
Absolutely. We live in miraculous times. Out of nowhere comes this beautiful material that tells us all about this movement.
In the Dead Sea Scrolls, Eisenman says he's found references to James, the brother of Jesus, also known as James the Just.
And we know that every time in the Qumran materials that you see the word just one or righteous one, the interpretation is the righteous teacher. So there is a leader in the Dead Sea Scrolls called the just one or the righteous one.
Do you believe the teacher of righteousness is James?
Yes.
Why?
Because everything in his doctrine, everything that we identify with him, everything that we know about him, makes it clear that his thinking is parallel or part of the kind of group we have here. We have one basic messianic movement out here, and this is the center of it.
If Eisenman can place James at the center of it all, he can unveil a form of Christianity that has been lost for 2,000 years. It means that the Dead Sea Scrolls contain some of the earliest writings of the Jesus movement, and we can see them as they were.
Yes. It's all in their literature. They're righteous. They're very imaginative. They're messianic. They don't believe in turning the other cheek. They don't love their enemy. They wish a final apocalyptic judgment on all the people who are destroying Palestine, the Israelites, and all the people around them.
But most scholars call the group that lived at Qumran the Essenes, and the group that followed James the Ebionites. These scholars believe that the Essenes wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls, not James's Ebionites. But Eisenman tells me to look a little closer at the evidence. He believes that many of the Essenes and the Ebionites were one and the same. That means they were Judeo-Christians. The Dead Sea Scrolls that scholars call mvmt. It's a letter that just may be graced by the fingerprints of James. That makes Eisenman pretty excited.
It's a letter. I like to call it a letter on works righteousness.
Was found here?
It's found in Cave 4. And what it is, a letter to a foreign king of some kind that needs tuition in the law of Moses.
They're telling a king how to
keep the law of Moses. There are converts in northern Syria who do need tuition. MMT, to my mind, is a Jamesian letter to one of these rulers laying out things that are required of them.
Eisenman has compared the MMT letter found at Qumran with a letter attributed to James in Acts 15 of the Christian Bible. What he's discovered is extraordinary. The letters seem to match.
We know that James's followers in Acts took a letter down to Antioch which banned fornication, blood, strangle things, meaning carrion, and things sacrificed to idols. It reflects Qumran doctrine almost all the way through it. It's totally consistent with everything you find here in Qumran.
So, if you're right, the letter found there, called MMT, is actually maybe penned by James.
That's the key. That letter actually contained all the things we know that James's letter contained in the book of Acts.
But this is huge. You're telling me that some of the writings that we find here are really the writings of what we would call today, or the world generally, the early church.
The early church in Palestine,
Yeah.
not the Pauline one.
No, the actual followers of Jesus.
Yes.
Eisenman is quick to make the distinction between the followers of Jesus and another developing movement that scholars call Pauline Christianity. That's because for the Ebionites, the continuing Jesus movement led by James, the real troubles begin with a man named Paul.
Paul was the enemy of his. Paul persecuted early Christians. He didn't even know who he was. What? Paul telling us he knows Christ better than James, better than Peter, better than people who have spent their whole life with